you have to literally be fucking insane. You don't want to just get in it. There's foreplay. I don't care if my wife doesn't believe in me. It's okay to use people, right?
Being an entrepreneur, you got to be delusional. What it takes to build a personal brand. Your phone is crap. On this podcast, you'll learn how to start your own business. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the very first CB3 podcast. As I had to do it right, bro, with the guy that I started with. So I was like, he has to be the very first one onto the podcast, bro. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Kalaii Griffin. If you guys don't know who Kalaii Griffin is, this, if you guys know my story, was my very first ever Shark Tank client. Bro, this is the man, bro, I started doing video edits for. Literally just climbed the ladder and kind of just grew my personal brand through him. And he's been there since the beginning, bro. So I'll let Kalaii kind of introduce himself as far as like who he is, what he did on the entrepreneurial side. But just to give you guys a brief summary, he was on Shark Tank, obviously. Ended up landing a deal with Mark Cuban, and he invented a fire-ass product called Treadskin, which basically is a sauna suit, right? It traps your sweat, and you could actually see the amount of sweat after your workout. You dump it out, and then you just put on another one the next time you go. You just throw it away, right? He'll go more into depth about what he created, what he built, the skills that he's learned, bro, like building a business, what's important, what's not important. We're gonna talk a lot of stuff that you guys want to talk about, everything marketing, what it takes to build a personal brand, what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, everything from starting to finish, bro. On this podcast, you'll learn how to start your own business. But Kalaii, welcome, my boy. But yeah, man, so is there anything that I left out that you want the people to know about you? What you do, what you created, or maybe that I didn't cover?
Single-use sauna suit, never was created before. Some of the greatest ideas that you'll ever come up with, you won't plan it. It'll just fall into your lap. And so you just want to emphasize on that part, right? I was playing college football, grew up in sales, right? Like my dad was an entrepreneur. He was his own boss. Kind of knew I had a knack for either manipulation or just being really good at sales, turned my power into good, and realized that I was gonna be some type of entrepreneur, some type of networker. Make a long story short, I was so dedicated in the concept of being in the NFL. I wasn't thinking when I got out of college, I was gonna be an entrepreneur. So again, just wanna emphasize that if you're watching this and you're like, damn, where do I start? Sometimes the greatest ideas just fall into your lap. So no stress, and it'll just come to you.
So like when you created your product, right, you said it just fall into your lap. I mean, obviously you created Treadskins, you played football. How did the idea happen? Like how did that idea fall into your lap, and how did Treadskins as a whole? Because I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are like, damn, I want to start this, or damn, I have an idea, and they sit on it. Right? They don't actually take action. They don't do anything about it. They just a thought, and then someone else comes around and becomes a millionaire off of it, and they're like, "Oh, that was my idea." Right? So how did that come for you, and how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, man. So I'll give you a short answer that's like generalized to what I think you would want to hear as an audience is you're gonna create the shit that you do every day. You just have to make it better. And one of the best pieces of advice, and I'm gonna butcher it because like as I'm saying, I'm like, I don't want to mess it up, but it's along the lines of if there's a problem, and it sounds cliche, but if there's a problem and you have a solution, somebody will buy it, right? I know that sounds cliche, but if you're doing something every day and you're missing one key part to that, or you're doing something every day and you're like, I want to make this shit better, that's your idea, right? You don't need to come up with some intricate, revolutionary, futuristic AI technology. Dude, the way my business came about was I was using a fucking trash bag, and I was so broke that I couldn't buy the reusable ones, and I needed to because I was flirting with two different teams, and they were like, I want you at this weight, I want you at this weight. And coming from an MMA background, I knew the fastest way to cut weight was through a trash bag, right, or a sauna suit. So make a long story short, I couldn't afford the sauna suits, right, the big bulky reusable ones. I didn't want to clean them. We were in the middle of COVID, and I couldn't keep using trash bags because my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, her mom was not having me keep using her trash bag. She's like, tell your boyfriend stop using my damn trash bags for his workout. And make a long story short, I remember vividly, man, I just got done running in the backyard. My mother-in-law had this big hill in her backyard, but it wasn't like something crazy. But I would make anything work to get a shot in playing football. And I was like laying on the living room floor because I didn't want to sit on the couch because I was sweaty. And I'm like, dude, I'm so tired of using these trash bags. And I keep looking it up, right? I'm looking it up, single-use sauna suit. I was fortunate to have some type of background and understanding how products are come in a way, right? So I knew to look at not just Google, not just Amazon. I was looking at sites like Alibaba, if you haven't heard of that. That's where most people get their merchandise in bulk. And it literally did not exist. And I used to think it was funny when you would watch movies or shows and shit, and you would hear the light bulb went off. But I swear to you, it was almost like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "I'm gonna create that." Now, I've had multiple of those ideas before. I still have them to this day, and I don't take action on it. But something in my gut, in my heart, in my body, that's why I really felt like the light bulb truly went off, told me I needed to create this business. I'll give you a quick story after that. I remember my wife was giving my son, the baby at the time, giving him a bath or something, like giving them dress. And I come downstairs and I said, there's no single-use sauna suit. I'm gonna create a company called Sweat Skins. And she looked at me like idea is great, but ew, the name is terrible. So part of me was thinking she was just being negative, but she was right? Like Sweat Skin sounds like a sex toy, right? So I went back upstairs, I was sitting there, and I actually have a tattoo right here on my leg. I kept visualizing, being a new you when you're ripping off that suit. It also kind of helped that if you look at like a Glad trash bag, it has the hex design, so it looks like a snake skin. And so I just kept thinking like a new you. And, when snakes shed their skin, they're a new person, like they feel better, like they look cleaner. And I was like, why don't we just call it shred skins, because it's so tight to your body. It's like you're shredding your skin and you're feeling like a new person. Mm-hmm. And so I went downstairs, and my wife is my biggest critic. And so I said, shred skins. And she looked at me and gave me that look like, that's the one. And I don't know, it was just a sense of validation coming from someone that like grew up military. She very hyper realistic. I'm very unrealistic, but that's okay, right? Like, and that's another part I want to touch on. You have to literally be fucking insane. Like, if you want to be successful, the shit you're thinking in your brain and what you come up with should not make sense to anybody else. It shouldn't make sense. We're living at our fucking mom's house, dude. We have a kid. Football clearly didn't work out, and I'm sitting here talking about starting a business with no money, right? And we could talk through how that exactly happened if that matters to y'all, but like, it sounds fucking stupid. It sounds crazy. You're talking about a sauna suit business. And from that moment on, I was in my CB3 mode, and I did not sleep. I also had a kid, and I worked all day, all night, and I had to work all night because I was communicating with China. So you had to work the overnight shift. So make a long story short, it was an absolute ridiculous grind to even just kind of figure out how to wake up one day and then just put on this hat of like, now you got to be the CEO. Now you got to be this great marketer. Now you have to handle your shipping and your freight. And you also got to, grow the business. It's an insane concept to think like overnight, once you come up with the idea, you have to now know everything.
Well, a lot of people talk about like this entrepreneur journey, right? Like now it's like a big thing. It's like everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be their own boss. Everybody wants to, quit their 9-to-5 job, right? And like when you said you were in my CB3 mode, because a lot of you guys know, like, bro, I don't sleep right now. I'm in a season. I've been in this season for a while, where it's just like every single day we're working, we're grinding, we got goals, we're building, and where you're gonna go. It's just about being consistent, right? So you going into that entrepreneurial journey, people see the success, the cars, the money, the Lambos, all that stuff that people show off, right, on like social media. But like I've been through it. No, it's not actually like that. It's really like 1% of the actual journey of being an entrepreneur. So when you were in that stage of being that CB3 mode or being in that entrepreneurial journey, explain to people what that actually is like and what being an entrepreneur truly means. rather than what people honestly think it is.
Man, what it means to me, it's funny because I was just listening to Nipsey Hussle, and it's going to sound cliche, I guess, if you heard it, but the way he words success, I think, makes the most sense to me. And he says, I'm not the best at what I do. I just didn't fucking quit. And I swear to you, to me, what being an entrepreneur means is you have the balls or the grit or the toughness, whether you're a man or a woman, to just not give up, right? Like if you could get punched in the mouth over and over and over again and fail over and over and over again and keep pushing, that's what the corporate world calls entrepreneurial spirit, right? Now that I've worked in corporate, I work in corporate, like they call that, we need people with an entrepreneurial spirit. And all they're really saying is, can you get fucked up, get told no 100 times a day, make no money, not be motivated by solely money, but a greater purpose, and still show up to work every day. So when you have this business or you get in your CB3 mode and you're grinding, your mind has to take over in a sense of saying like, yo, no matter what happens, I can't fail until I hit my goal. Like I cannot stop until I hit my goal. That psycho shit of like, what they say, the literal definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah, you have to be insane to be an entrepreneur, right? It's like, okay, no, I'm going to keep going live every single night. I don't give a fuck who joins. I don't care if nobody joins. I got to go live every single night. And you'll get a person that doesn't understand the vision, doesn't understand why you're doing what you're doing. They'll tell you, stop doing that. Or that doesn't make sense because they won't do it. So in short, again, my definition of an entrepreneur is someone that just has this fucking tenacity about them that you cannot refuse, right? You walk in a room and you just somehow, everybody gravitates to it, right? Not just because you're good looking or you're 6'5" or you're big. Like, no, it's because you just bring a certain type of energy to you that like, man, I could care less whether you believe in me or not. I could give a fuck, and my mom and dad are not around anymore, but I wouldn't give a fuck if they believed in me either. I don't care if my wife doesn't believe in me. I don't care if my sisters who raised, I don't care if no one believes in me, because it's not supposed to be for them. It's not supposed to be for them.
But I mean, me and Kalaii have had these talks before in private, right? Like what we've gone through along this journey, right? And there's certain things that like people, you guys know because of how open I am with you guys. But like one thing about me is like being an entrepreneur, like you got to be you got to be delusional. That's the word. Is what he said. You really got to be a delusional person, and to think that your parents are supposed to believe in you or your family or your brothers just because there's blood is delusional in itself, right? Me, when I started my entrepreneur journey, like guys, when I stopped playing professional football, that money ran out quick, right? Like I was broke, and you guys know my story. I was in an apartment. Kalaii was my first Shark Tank client. I had little gigs here and there before that. But I made it happen. I was working my 9-to-5 job. I was selling internet outside of the grocery store. That's what was my main income. You would invite me out to Vegas or to like these trips, and I found a way to pay for those trips and get out there and open up my network, and find opportunities and enjoy the process. Like that was the most important thing. Like I
at least covered his stay, okay?
No, he did. No, he
like, shit, I sound cheap as fuck.
No.
I wish I could have paid for him though, but I spent way too much.
But see, like to me, it's like I think it's good that that it was that way, because it made me enjoy and want it more, right? Like even just doing the edits and the content for you in the very beginning, bro, I was just happy, like, yo, like I'm opening the door away from my 9-to-5 job, and I utilize those opportunities to, build my personal brand and get in rooms and meet people that I probably never would have met. And I just continue to grind every single day and build an empire to where I can travel and get clients and meet people. And like Henry Cejudo, like I never would have met Henry Cejudo if Shredskins wasn't a thing, or if me and Kalaii weren't a thing, right? So like just those opportunities alone are really, really cool. And I enjoy the process rather than looking at the end result, right? Like I just know that if I grind and continue to do the same thing every single day, regardless if there's a immediate gratification right there and then, I know the results will come. It's just not my decide. It's not me to decide when, right? And that's kind of the way I look at it. And that's why I say, like you said, like before, like you were doing crazy hours. Like I understand 100%, bro, because I be in the room editing content, ads, everything, you name it, till 4 or 5 in the morning. But it's okay because there's nothing else I'd rather do at this moment, right, than build an empire.
Yeah, and that's genuine, man. I remember we were like in Vegas. It was Jaden, Lily, Chris, 3 most important people on my team. Like, no, this motherfucker was working all night. So we had events all day. We'd be staying up till like 5 in the morning. I'm sorry, we'll get up at like 7, 8 in the morning. Everybody else is going to bed at like 2 or 3. CB3's up till like 5. And that was every single night. And I think that was the first time I got to see his work ethic in person, because he would do that. And then I was like, well, let's see if he would do that in Vegas. And then even still, I was like, maybe he's just doing that to like leave a great impression. But every trip, every time we did something, he would not stop till he got his work done. Whether it was for me as a client or other clients, he came, slept over my house. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm going to bed, right? I also have kids. That's another thing that will fuck you up. Don't have kids until you're older. I mean, I don't regret anything. Everything happens for a reason, right? Like my boys are older now. Like I'm still young. But my point is, I remember I was like, I'm going to bed, brother. He's like, all right, I'm gonna get some work done, right? So I say that like he genuinely puts in the man hours because he has a vision. And the cool part about it is like, if he really wanted to, he doesn't have to, right? Like he does not technically have to, but he set a bar in his brain that's so fucking high. And maybe, it's not for any of us to understand that like he feels like he is still in the need to keep working the way he does. Whether that changes or not to speak for you, but like, that's just what I see from the outside looking in. When you hit me up, I was getting hit up by everyone, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I still to this day don't really know. I tell Jay what I think happened. And
what do you think happened?
I think I can't. So this is me from the outside. So for those of you guys that don't know, I was grinding. I was sending out cold DMs to hundreds of people, guys. But I wanted to be different. I didn't want to do it the same way that most people send out a message, email, DMs, whatever, right? Like I wanted to put in work, and I know the best thing for me is my personality and how I deliver a message. Like that's what makes me me. I know that, and I look different, right? So when I was going through all of these people, Shark Tank, I actually found Kalaii through. At the time, I was still like right outside of football, so I had a trainer. Rob. So Rob was my trainer in El Paso, and that was kind of like my mutual connection to you, but then also Tristan Cooper. So shout out to Tristan. I don't even think Tristan knows this either. So like this is like they don't know this. But anyways, Tristan, me and him would actually go work out, and because of Rob, and we go do one-on-ones, and I was all in my football phase, and I always seen him wearing Shred Skins. And I was like, and I always see them like, I shout out to them because they're real friends, bro. Because they would always be like, oh, my boy, I'm just supporting my boy. Literally, I remember them. I wasn't even cool with them like that, but I would hear the noise. And I remember one day I was going through my DMs trying to find people to who I could work with and like, provide services for. And I remember I clicked on, I think it was Tristan's story, and they were wearing Shred Skins, and I went through this rabbit hole of, dude, I know this guy. Oh, he stays in El Paso. Oh, he went to UTEP. Like, this is perfect. This is a perfect in. Like, I could like pitch him, Yeah. So I remember being in my car. I was in my car, and I did a voice message. I only get 60 seconds, by the way, on Instagram to deliver a message. And I do it here holding my phone. I'm like, what's up, Kalaii? My name's so-and-so. My name's Chris Bustamante. I do this and this. I run my own marketing agency, brother. I basically gave him the whole 9 yards, a little elevator pitch, what they call it. And I don't sell the sale. I sell the call. And I'm like, hey, man, get on a call with me just so I can explain. Boom. But I did it in voice, and I had to do this for hundreds of times. It was just me, right? It was just my face and talking, and if I mess up, I got to redo it and send it. So I remember I sent you a video message.
I was going to clarify.
Yeah, I sent you a video message, and boom, and then couple hours went by, and all of a sudden I'm laying in bed after doing it, and I just get a notification, hey, what up, man? I was just surprised that he answered, because you go through this rejection so many times of people not even opening up your messages, and you feel like it's not worth it, but it's a numbers game. And then you finally answered, and we got on a call, and instantly, like, I was able to we started off with doing video editing, and then just from there kind of worked our way all the way up to ads. And
man, it's crazy, because like I get chills listening to like your perspective, because in the same like time period, right? I remember, I believe we already aired on Shark Tank, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you already aired. Yeah.
So, bro, when I said like you're talking thousands of messages, DMs, messages.
Yeah.
It did help that you had mutual friends and stuff. Where I'm like, okay,
he knows
this dude knows Coop, he knows Rob, he knows people from El Paso. But just to think that like one opening of a message or like one, response could kind of like flip the trajectory of your story is pretty cool. Because not only was it crazy that I just happened to see your video in the requested or however it came through.
Yeah.
But bro, I wasn't supposed to hire anyone else. Like I wasn't supposed to take any other like people on. And I know you didn't technically like work for me, like you were.
But you were still paying me.
And I wasn't supposed to pay no one else, right? Jaden was taking majority of the money. I knew that we needed to expand, but I knew I also couldn't do certain things. And I'll tell you, and this is not going to work in 2025, but I'll say this. What sold me was the video, right? And I guess emphasis on like why I'm bringing up the video is because back in whenever the fuck that was, nobody was sending videos, right? So everybody was doing emails, DMs. No one was like going to make a personalized video, and that's what sold me. So like, I guess in the same context, and I'm not up to date with what people are doing so much today, but take that same, scenario and just look at like how people are obtaining business, acquiring business, outsourcing business, and just try to do one extra step, right? Like he could have sent me a mass text.
Yeah. He
could have sent me an email, you know what I mean? But no, he sent a personalized video, and I was like, I'll hear the call out. And also CB3 was very accommodating. And I say that by like, understand where people are at, right? So this could go down a whole nother rabbit hole of just like actual intricates of how I think you should build your business.
Well, I want you to go down that road because I'm on the service side, right? You are the entrepreneur. So like, I'm very interested on like, what are your thoughts when somebody, because guys, there's hella people that pitch, right? So it's like, what is your,
So the pitch was great because it wasn't even like he was selling me anything. And that's how it should be, right? So if you're reaching out to somebody, and there's going to be people that disagree with this, maybe not entrepreneurial, but maybe corporate people. But I never think you should sell in the first meeting. You should never sell on your discovery is what they call it. And so what he was doing was trying to reach out, trying to grab a meeting to essentially just say, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's see where you're at. And this is where I'm at. Now, what I was going to say was, I'm a big believer. And so there's another side of entrepreneurs that believe like sell the $10,000 product 10 times, right? Are we following here math-wise, right? So there's a lot of entrepreneurs that feel like I have a $10,000 product and I'm going to sell that to 10 high individuals, and that's how I'm going to make my 100,000. I have always believed that I would rather sell 100,000 people a $1 product. Now, that's just my opinion. There's pros and cons to that, right? The reason why I say that is because I think it's really important for anyone listening that wants to start a business, wants to start a service, to just understand your market, right? If you're going to take that route of the 10K to 10 people, like, cool, that's fine, right? But understand that you are going to get 10 times more no's than you normally would, right? If you had a service, you had a product that people could afford and it was better than everybody else's, it's a no-brainer. And where I learned that from was actually a really old movie, but it's in relation to, street sales, right? And it's like, if you have a product that's better than everyone else's, and it's cheaper. It's like people would think it's like, are you joking? Like, are you serious? Like, is this even real? Like, of course I'm going to get it. Well, everything in life is like narcotics, right? Like everything in life is like that, right? Yeah. So it's a business. Yeah. Everything in life is like you have a drug and people want it, right? Whether it's the new purse or the new shoes or the new service, everything is drugs. Like everybody's addicted. That's why you guys are watching on live right now. That's why you'll see this video.
That's gonna be like a great clip.
Your phone, your phone is cracked. You know, like at the end of the day, it's like, man, you're addicted to something. So when you find that niche of people that are addicted to the cool shit that you created, that's not a drug. That's how you make your sale. So why would I mark up my price? Why? Because of my own pride? Like, no, it just doesn't make sense to me. When I start a business again, one day, my product's not going to be extremely high end. Now, the cons to that is you're dealing with motherfuckers that are not high end. Like that's the con to it. But me personally, I feel like I would rather make a price that's undeniable. And that kind of side note goes into like why I think I made a deal. Because I was strategically planning for 2 years of like how I would walk into that tank and get the deal. Because I didn't want no question about the dollar amount. Fuck the dollar amount. If I'm standing in front of you, do you like me as a person? Do you want me to represent you? Do you want me to sell you? Do you want me to be your partner? Do you want me to be your friend? Do you want to be my girlfriend or boyfriend? Everything in life is a sale. You know what I'm saying? Everything in life is a sale. So I'm saying that by like, don't sell yourself short, but if you take money out of it, right? Are you someone that somebody wants to do business with? Is your product good enough for someone to get it? Forget money for a second, right? That's actually a sales technique. Like, hey, just forget money for a second. Yeah. Do you want this, right? Do you want this car? Do you want this product? Do you want this house? Do you want this service, right? Like, let's take money out of it for a second. Is this something you need? Okay, because I promise you right now, for anybody that has kids, or anybody that, you know, whatever, you would do anything for your fucking kids, right? Whether it's swallow your pride and ask for money, whether it's fucking, you know, they have health issues and you got to go out and go get it done. However you get it done, like you would do anything. Okay, so let's just scale it back a little bit, right? When somebody really wants a product, they're gonna find a way to buy it, right? They're gonna find a way to buy that product, and you just have to tap into that. So kind of again going down a rabbit hole. But I feel like that's just a really monumental step. Even before I ran a business of like how I wanted to go about the tank and like asking for my offer, I wanted to make sure that the number wasn't going to stand in between me and Mark Cuban or Kevin O'Leary or anyone. I wasn't going to go in and ask for an extremely insulting low amount, but I also wanted them to look at this and be like, well, okay, so that's easy. Do I like the guy? Right? Gotcha. Do I like the person? So
and they did. They loved you, bro. They absolutely loved you on the show. They kept, he's genuinely respectful. Look at that, bro. Go watch this episode, bro. Y'all want to know what I'm talking about. That. They definitely loved you. So that was my thing. Like curious. Like I've always wondered. Like damn. Like what was it? Like how did this even happen? Because it did turn into something crazy. And I think what you're saying is like I made myself easily accessible on purpose. So like at the time, like I knew like okay. I could leverage Shark Tank, right? Like I knew that, right? And this is just me being honest. Like I knew like I could leverage having a Shark Tank client. So I was like, you know what, bro? Whatever you need done, I'm here for you. But not only was it whatever do you need done, I wanted to actually bring a certain creative or video or something that he wasn't doing, right? Prior to me coming on board, I completely remember the first thing I saw was, bro, just a page full of sweat dumps. Like literally that it was just people and it was working. Yeah. But I was like, okay, there's no podcast, there's no personal branding, there's none of that going on, right? So I remember talking to Kalaii, and I remember I was like, you know what, bro, let me just do some edits, man. Like, so I remember you went on a podcast, I did a little Tesla podcast for you. I did all these little edits, I added it, and you were like, whoa. And I wanted to do that, right? I made sure I put effort into my content for him so that he could see what he could be potentially missing out on, right? Yeah. And he's never had that type of videos prior to me coming on board. So that's why I was like, you know what? Let me make sure I deliver a really good product, right? Because you do got to bring value. You can't just sell something that they can't use, like bring valuable to that person. So I wanted to strategically bring value and work my way up the ladder while building my business.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said something that's like really important, and I think a lot of people they kind of got it fucked up, right? They're a little too emotional when they think about it, but like it's okay to use people, right? Like, so the term use may be like a negative connotation. So I think I'll word it as it's okay to understand that like you're planting this seed because you're gonna get something in return later, right? So he said, well, dude, this is a fucking Shark Tank client. If I work with him, he will forever be able to say, even if I was his last one, that he worked with a Shark Tank client, he could use that in Discover because he's not lying now. So like, hey, by the way, I used to do videos for Shark Tank. He could forever say that. Very similar to like, you know, I knew regardless of whatever I did in life to the day I died that like I could fucking say I was on Shark Tank.
Exactly.
Right? So
it's your brand.
So it's because it just happened. I'll give you another example. We worked with Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo and I don't talk anymore. But guess the fuck what? I can forever say that I worked with the Triple C, right? There's a lot of different things that go into it. I think the Shark Tank thing is a little different because that took years of preparation and like applications and then like getting on it was different. But I would say many times have I like booked my own flight to go meet with somebody just to meet with them, right? Just because I was like, even if I even like put me in front of that person, if I get the chance to do business with them, I will forever be able to say that I did. So I say that to say that like, don't let your pride get in the way, right? So CB3 really quick just said like, man, I knew like, hey, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do right now. And whatever happens, happens. Like, who knows if Kalaii invites me to this or it doesn't do this, but like, I just know that I'm going to put in my best work because I will be able to say like, you see that video on that Shark Tank guys, dude? Like I did that, right? Because that is a give and take, right? Give and take. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to say, okay, I'm going to join this social club because I am bound to meet a motherfucker that's going to change my life, right? Or I'm going to go and support this person because if he makes it, like maybe he could like put me on. That's okay because that's life, right? It's better to manifest it in the sense of like, man, I'm gonna be there for this person because I believe in them, and if something happens in return, fine. But like CB3 and I, it's funny. Like what? I think it was this morning. I tell my wife, I said CB3 is sleeping over. Because he's my friend now, right? But like in the beginning, who knows what that could have happened, right? Because at the end of the day, it was a business transaction. So the last thing I'll say is, you can come into it thinking like, man, you know, I'm going to work with this person because I know like in the long run, this is going to be beneficial to me. If a genuine connection develops, then fine, that happens. CB3 has been in my house many times. Like I said, this one, I'm like, CB3 is sleeping over. Okay, like because my house is his house, but that doesn't always happen like that. So you know, friendship is a second part to it. But my point is, it's okay to think like, I'm targeting this person and I'm going to become friends with this person because it's going to benefit me in life. That's not being fake. That's called business, and motherfuckers do it all the time. It's just if a genuine connection could come, then cool. But if not, like it's okay to get out there and to network and to try to meet people that are going to change your lives. Like, period.
Absolutely. No, bro. It's so funny too because when all this was going on, obviously like all I had was me and my business, right? Like that was me as a kid, broke, couldn't afford rent. Like I was in a bad situation, guys, 2-3 years ago, and when the whole thing went down with you and everything, like I remember the very first time I ever met you, you actually invited me. I was me doing work for you for a while, and then finally you're like, yo, I'm going down to San Antonio for an XFL game. And at that time, I was with Alyssa. So I was like, yo, like we're finally gonna get to meet Kalaii, you know. And bro, like you guys gotta understand, guys, like when I landed Kalaii too, like we hadn't met. We never had met in person. It was just strictly business, right? And then we finally met. We finally met at the XFL game, and then I got to actually know who Kalaii was, right? Like I got to know him on a personal, outside of CEO, boss, hey, get this done type of work. And I was like, yo, this guy is cool. Like, he's a regular person. And you just start to realize, like, people are human beings, bro. And at the end of the day, it's all about building a genuine connection. So we went to the XFL game, hit it off. We already had a lot of stuff. Like, we both played football. Like, we had a lot of built-in stuff that it was inevitable that we were going to be cool. But you just never know, right, how that interaction is going to happen. So literally from that day forward, me and Kalaii, like, hit it off, right? We was traveling together. Like, we went from that to Vegas to another. We went like so many places. Oh, we went to the golf tournament.
Yes.
Like, we went to all these things, bro. And that it developed.
Twice,
it naturally developed into a strong relationship where he's no longer just a client, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he is family, he is a brother to me. But it started off with just not knowing what could happen, you know. Right. And now obviously it's built into this, and Kalai's always will be family, and he knows that, I know that. And that's why I say, bro, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So it's a numbers game. Just reach out there, because you never know where that it's gonna lead you. I don't know where my business would be if I didn't meet you. You know, I mean, what I know me. I know I wouldn't have stopped. I know I would have made it happen eventually. But did you make that path a lot easier? I guess yes. And I always give credit where credit's due, because I do think it's really, really important to, you know, give people their flowers, bro, when they deserve it, you know. And like, you're in almost every one of my founder intro, CB3 media, how did I get started, because he was a really big milestone point in my life, bro. And he's in my VSL. I gotta send you that, by the way. He's in my VSL, and so all this story, bro, he's part of that journey, and I'm so glad it happened and it worked out the way it did. And that you guys get to see it from start to now, right? And it's funny because, like, it comes back full circle, bro, because I was back then in a position when, bro, like, you didn't even know until later, but like, I was in a broken down apartment. I got broken into 3 times. Everything had got stolen from me. I mean, and I was doing work, bro. Like, on the side, I quit I was doing my sales job, and then I come and do work for him. And I remember at the time I was dating this girl. She was sitting there, and I gotta get this done for Kalaii. Knocking out all the videos. I get them done for you, send them to you. How do you like them, bro? Let me know.
Be like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, let me know what re-edits you need. But the reason why I'm this open is because I've learned this. I think it's very important for people to realize nowadays people see like Porsche, right? And me posting all this stuff. That's like, bro, that's nothing. That's like 1% of what truly goes on to entrepreneurship. But these kids or these people that come in, they think that they could come off rip and just charge these type of prices, or they think that they're these people, but they don't realize the struggle and the grind that is actually built up to be able to get to that level. Bro, I was doing work for free, bro, like with my first couple clients. Kalaii, I was doing, I don't know if you remember, bro, but when we started, bro, I was doing like $200, $300 work, and you by yourself, and this shout out to Kalaii, bro, I never asked them for a raise, nothing, right? I remember I showed you my work, I wanted to be valuable, and you naturally were like, hey, bro, I'm gonna up your pay. Yeah. And you did that by yourself, and I didn't ask. And I want that to be out there to let you guys know, bro, that there is people out there that will see the value in your work if you're being valuable to them, right? So with that being said, I think it's really important for anyone who wants to get started, whether it's in marketing agency, stocks, being an entrepreneur, whatever field. Any one of you guys could get rich or create your own path, but you got to go in on all in with that one thing and double down on it, and you might not see that result right away. I didn't get to where I'm at. I'm on year 3, about to enter year 4, bro, and I'm still grinding like I started, right? And I'm in a way better position. I'm gonna be honest, I don't need, like you said, I don't need to, but I don't think like that, right? Like when I go to work, bro, I don't think like, oh, I got over 200, like I don't like think how much I have in my bank account, because I understand that God can take it away like this. Absolutely. Right? So I enjoy the journey and the skills that I've learned. Like, Kalaii, I never would have learned paid ads if it wasn't for you. Like, this is stuff that I've never really said, but like, Kalaii put me out of my comfort zone, right? So Kalaii made me do stuff that were like, was it selfish in a way? Like, I remember he'd be like, hey, bro, like if you could learn paid ads, I could pay you more, and I needed the money. So I was like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna lock in. And I remember that immediately when you told me that, I went for like five months straight just on YouTube tutorials, and I started running your ads. And this was like my first take of ever running paid ads. Now I do it for multiple different
and it
clients.
wasn't good.
It wasn't.
The first time wasn't.
It wasn't.
But because you have to fail, and now that motherfucker is really good at it. So you have to get out your comfort zone. And I believed in him. And not to cut you off, but it's so funny because it's like, yeah, you get out your comfort zone, and it just shows his fucking resilience, right? Like, he's like, I don't give a fuck how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm gonna fucking do it. And what did that do? That just made him better, right? Just made him better. And she, you know, there was a couple times where I feel like in my life I got too comfortable, and that's the killer of everything, right? Like just getting too comfortable. So I'm big on like the fine line of maximizing your time to the best of your ability, but also, you know, not being too comfortable, right? So it's a little different, right? Like I have kids. I feel like if you don't have kids, you shouldn't be doing shit but like making yourself better in life, right? Like you should be up all night grinding. You should be working hard. Like, you should be like sleeping on the couch with your best friend or like somebody, and just fucking grinding, right? Getting comfortable is the killer to it all. So you brought up the no comfort zone in the paid ads, and I want to translate that to like maybe something that, you know, everybody else could maybe relate to, right? Because like paid ads, it's really difficult. It's complicated. So, you know, whether you're at your job and you're like, man, there's no way I can quit this fucking job, but I'll tell you, there is a way. There is a way. You just have to not be comfortable, right? Like you just have to not be comfortable. If you're listening to this, I want you to think about like how much you make at your job right now. And I want you to just literally cut 30% of it. Like cut 30% of that out, right? Take that same number and then try to pay your bills, right? And just think to yourself, like, you're gonna find a way to pay it, right? Yep. Because, well, I've never actually said this before, ever. So think of it like this, right? You have 100% of your bills. Take 30% of it out. You can even do 25 if it makes you more comfortable, right? But 25%, forget about it. Now you're living on 75% of that income, right? Now pay everything, right? Write it down. Like, okay, I gotta pay rent. All right, I gotta do this. But you're gonna subconsciously and naturally start cutting out the shit that you spend money on, right? You're gonna cut out some of the groceries. You're gonna cut out the eating out. You're gonna be like, you know what, gas, okay, maybe I could carpool one of these days, or maybe I won't drive, I'll work from home even though I go in the office, or maybe I'll just like, I don't know, maybe get cheaper gas, like fuck, maybe I'll just do half the gas, right? I'll just roll on a half, I don't know, however the fuck you do it, you'll figure it out. If you have 75% of that income, that 25% goes into whatever you're too fucking scared to start. And I'm telling you, if everybody thought like that, they would have some type of business on the side. And I got this one part that I'm about to say from Gary Vee, and I'm not saying the exact quote, and you met Gary Vee. But it was something along the lines of like, okay, if you're making X amount of money in your side business, right, but you're only putting in this amount of time, then like, what would be stopping you, or what's to say you wouldn't make this amount just off of basic math and facts, right? If you quit your job and work full time into this. But people don't think of it like that. They're too scared to think of it. Now, if you have kids, I don't recommend it, right? I actually recommend a different path. There's different ways you could go about it. I kind of went, you know, I nosedived in it, but you know, I had some support. My wife was living with her mom. It sounds simple, like something as simple as that. Some people don't have either, right? I don't have too much family to just like go live and stay with. I mean, could I? Yes, but just even that option and ability is more than what most people have. If you have kids, you kind of got to build the foundation, because now you're being selfish. You're not being the best parent you can be, right? So you're being a little selfish, and it's okay to be selfish in the sense of like, get to your dream. Henry Cejudo actually said this. He said, be in love with the dream. And I didn't really understand it until I realized that like his dream was actually, and I don't want to speak for him, this was my analysis, but like his dream was like more important than him being a present father at that time. And I respect it. Like, matter of fact, I actually agree with it, actually, right? That's a decision that you're gonna have to make as a parent, right? Like, do you have a partner that's gonna support this dream, right? Can you understand that like you're gonna sacrifice this time and like and your goals and your vision. Because I'll tell you what, it ain't different than working your 9 to 5 with your kids in daycare anyway. It ain't different than them going to school and you're in your 9 to 5 anyway. So you just gotta try to shift the mindset and kind of just understand that, like Cejudo said, you got to be in love with the dream.
A lot of the people that I do watch, they're working 9 to 5s or they're about to launch their business. I mean, let's talk business, right? I mean, on the marketing side, I give you guys so much game, bro. Like we've had videos hit 16 million, 17 million, like videos all across the board, bro. Like we started your YouTube from zero. We had, remember that? Like I remember I called Kalaii and I said, Kalaii, we need to get you a YouTube channel, bro, and drop our shorts. Now we've had a video on there hit like over like 40 mil, bro. Like it's crazy. And like marketing is a whole different beast, but I mean, you tell me, what is it that somebody needs to actually have a successful business, and what are the steps to building that business?
That's a great question. There's a ton of steps, right? So how old is this person?
This is a friend out of college. They just graduated college, right? They went to college pass, so they're probably 22, right? 22, 23, and they can't get a job. The degree, it is not working for them, and now they don't know where to go.
Yeah, first of all, that shit happens, man. Your degree is like if you're trying to get into some shit that's not like a specific labor that's like involved with maybe like saving lives, whether that's law or fucking doctor, your degree means not much. And honestly. So interesting. So there's a couple things that you need to do, right? Hypothetically, right? Let's say it's a detailing business. The first thing you want to do is your market research, right? I'd say that's probably number one. So because in reality, you may think like, hey, I want to do a detailing business, but I live in the city of Austin, Texas, and there's 1,000 of them. Now, in that same breath, right, if you have a just burning passion for fucking detailing cars, or you have an edge that no one else has, don't let nobody tell you no, because that's going to hone you in on your niche, right? So you have to find your niche. If you want to start a business, you have to find your niche. Now, once you figure out what it is, let's say it's detailing, that's where you have to take a step into like the legality. You have to go right away and go get an LLC. It just protects you, right? It gives you a tax break. It gives you a deferred tax. It lets you, get some money back. But in reality, you're just putting this stamp on the fact that you now have a business and you're working and operating as a business. You eventually want to turn that LLC to a corporation, right? Right. Yeah, it's an S corp, because the S corp is going to be a shell for the LLC. You want to get a credit card, right? But you're like, yo, Kalaii, I can't get a credit card. Or why do I need to get a credit card? Well, I'll tell you why. Credit runs the world. Your cash does not. There's a lot of shit that people don't want to tell you. Like the fact that you could take a loan out on your own life. Right? Like a lot of people don't know that your life is worth a couple million or $1.5 million to the government's eyes, to the insurance company's eyes. You are literally walking around with money, and you'll ask yourself like, well, why are people homeless? Why are people broke? Why can't we start businesses? Because you're not taught this shit in school. You can literally walk in and say, listen, bank, we're going to bet my life versus the insurance money because I don't have it. Okay, give me a loan for $25,000, $50,000, and if I die, you could take my life insurance policy that's taken out on my life. You're like, that's a fucking no-brainer. Everyone could get a loan. Just no one wants to teach you how to do it because nobody wants to give their money away. Only the rich do, and that's why the rich keep getting richer. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to go in detail. I have no clients. I have no customers. Like, what do I do? Before you're even thinking about hiring someone like CB3 to boost your business, because you couldn't afford them right now anyway, you obviously want to make your social medias, right? You want Instagram, you want Facebook, you want YouTube, you want TikTok. Record the journey. Like from day one, just record the journey because that's your content. Don't worry about the marketing. Don't worry about, the ads yet, but just like you got someone recording it. You're doing it for free, by the way. Like you're doing this shit for free. You're not charging anyone. Why? Because you got your girl, your boy, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, you got someone sitting beside you just recording everything you're doing. And if you don't, then buy one of those fucking stands for $5 at Five Below, and you prop that bitch up, and you literally just record everything you're doing. You're letting people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. When I was saying making the content of the people that you're doing for free, your business hasn't started yet. What do I mean by that? So you did everything I said, and you're making content videos because you're preparing for a launch. I think it's really important to launch your business, right? You don't want to just get in it, right? You gotta work your way into it, right? You want to prepare for the launch, right? Like there's foreplay there. You gotta work your way into it. Those videos that you're doing for free, you're doing that to create your hype, and then you set a date. And then you launch your business.
At the end of the day, you have a camera, it's in your phone, you guys use it all the time, record your journey to the launch. That's like the most important thing, is behind the scenes, your why is more important than the product itself, right? So what the product is and who you are and why you're doing it is so important. And that's what's actually gonna get people to buy, because people buy with emotion. That's what get people to buy. Oh, I want to look cool, so I'm going to buy this pants. Or if you're doing the detailing business, oh well, I want to go have my car looking right and feel cool when I'm driving on the highway. People buy with the emotion. So if you build up that hype, like you're talking about, showing who you are, your personality, the behind the scenes, you're building your personal brand. People want to buy from you because of the feeling that they're going to get getting their work done by you. With the whole marketing and stuff, right? You worked with me the past 2-3 years already, right, from the jump, as you guys know, right? We've gone viral multiple times, and I wanted to cut out the friendship, brotherhood out of it, right, for a second. And what, if any, value was brought, right, with CB3 Media, me working for you, whether it's the ads, the video editing, the personal branding, like, do you feel like you got value out of that? What was the biggest takeaway from that? Do you think it's important for someone to even bring on somebody that runs a marketing agency, or how do you generally feel as an entrepreneur on that side of things, not our relationship?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, one, for having me, but also for your time and always your time, for anything and all the things that you've done. So I would say, yes, 100%. I see the value in not only working with you and gaining your services, but just to touch on like why it's important to have a marketing agency, and why it's important to pick that agency, right? So one of my biggest pet peeves is when people just pick an agency because of the name, or they pick an agency because like, oh, they're charging this amount, so they have to be like really good. A lot of people like may know what they're doing, but there's no emotion connected to it. And so my biggest takeaway from working with CB3 Media and watching CB3 Media is you guys get connected with the product, right? Like with the person and with the product. Like you actually care. There was probably a time, I think you got up to like 20 something clients. And I remember I was like questioning, like, are you going to have time for me? And of course, because our friendship has built, and it was building at the time where you're like, bro, I will always have time for you.
I did.
But I think you were around like 13 to 20 or something at the time. And I was like, damn, is he going to have time? But one thing about working with CB3 Media is like your shit's always going to get done. Like it's always going to get done. It's always going to get done on time. Now, to just quickly touch on like why I think it's important for a small business to work with a marketing agency is because the reality is, ma'am, sir, like you don't know what you're doing. Like you don't know what you're doing. You may think you know what you're doing because everybody has been on Instagram since 2012, right? Like everyone's been on Facebook, at least for me, since like 2007, 2008 or 2008, 9 or whatever. Like we've all been on it, but in reality, like I'm only 31 and I promise you there's a 22-year-old, there's a 21-year-old that's learning more shit about this network or social media networking than like I am right now, because that's just not where my attention is. When you get someone where it's their job to do that and to do that for you, he's keeping up with the latest trends, analytics, algorithms. What are people on? What are people doing? What's the market? What's trend? Do you really have time for that while you're trying to focus on building your business? The answer is no. And I'm going to tell you why it's no, because if you really cared about building your business and you could afford it, right, you would get someone like that on your team. You would have to, because in the beginning, yes, you are going to have to wear many hats. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. But when it's time, and you'll know when it's time, when it's taking away from what you're actually doing, then you're being selfish to your business and to your dream. You need to put the pride aside and hire someone. And it's really important to interview and to know who you're hiring. And that's why, we went with CB3 Media. That's why every Shark Tank friend that I've had, has also went with CB3 Media because once they've met each other, it's a no-brainer. He just cares about you as a person and you as a client and you in your product. You know, he cares that he has to fall in love with your product so he can feel good, feel better about staying up till 4 a.m. and work on this shit, right? He's got to like you as a person. So I took a tremendous amount of value of just like who you are as a person. Things were always done, always on time. Never complained about money. Which, you know, we paid you, but like we continue to increase. But in retrospect, I mean, at the end of the day, we knew that we were mutually benefiting each other because the shit that he was doing for me was worth 5 to 10 times more of what we were paying him. And that's okay, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a mutual benefit. And so if you're watching this and you're like, damn, I need to be one of those marketers, right? Well, see what you bring to the table, right? Like if you're like, man, I need to get myself somebody that's marketing or that's doing this. We'll see what you bring to the table and maybe see how you guys can work together. And if you're watching this video and you're like, fuck, I can't afford CB3 Media, don't fucking assume and just see what's going on, right? See if there's payment plans. That was a long way of saying that I've always appreciated working with you. It's been a journey, and yeah, if you're not working with CB3 Media, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And the last thing is like I said, you guys know Kalaii's journey now, bro. If you guys haven't, bro, make sure you guys tap in, go watch this episode. If you guys ever have any questions or concerns, or maybe you're a small business yourself, bro, I mean, y'all can search him up. I'll make sure to drop his ads. It's Shredskins and at Kalaii 2, right? At Kalaii 2 on Instagram. You guys can reach out to him. If he gets to, he's a busy man. But like I said, obviously, you know, he has a lot of knowledge. You guys can always reach out to me when it comes to the marketing side. I appreciate you, brother. Like I said, it's always all love. This is my boy right here at the end of the day. He's family. And again, I had to do it right by I couldn't drop anybody else for the first podcast, bro. So I had to be Kalaii. So moving forward, you guys will see a ton of Shark Tank entrepreneurs hopping on, whether it's virtual or in person. But I had to do this one right with Kalaii just because of the story and the journey. So if you guys ever need to reach out to me, you guys can. I'll drop my socials as well, or it will be in the link in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. We'll bring you guys more knowledge, how to become successful, how to be an entrepreneur, launch your own business, and escape the 9 to 5 if that's what you want to do. All right?
Oh, yeah.
We out of here.